My sister's laughter cut through the clatter of forks before her words did. "You don't mind watching them, right?" she said, already turning back to her wine. The twins climbed into my lap, one tugging my hair, the other spilling juice down my sleeve. The table roared with laughter like it was all a show. No one looked at me, not when I stood to grab a towel, not when I wiped the stain that wasn't mine. That night, I didn't yell or cry. I started packing. They thought I'd still show up for the family trip. They had no idea I'd already booked my own ticket out. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me where are you listening from, just so I know someone out there understands. And when you've heard the whole story, tell me what would you have done if it were you. I used to think the silence in our house meant peace. It didn't. It meant someone else was being celebrated. Every wall carried proof photos of my sister's first steps, her graduation, her wedding. My corner of the hallway was bare. When her old clothes didn't fit me, Mom called it being practical. When her trophies gathered dust, Dad said we'd save space. I learned early that my name didn't echo as loudly as hers. At 15, I won a writing contest. The envelope came in the mail, stamped and official. I remember placing it on the kitchen counter while Mom flipped pancakes. "That's nice, honey," she said, eyes on the stove. Then the phone rang. It was my sister calling about her new job offer. By the time Mom hung up, my envelope had disappeared under the grocery list. In college, I waited tables after class. Most weekends, my phone lit up with one name, hers. "Can you watch the twins just for a few hours?" The hours always stretched into nights. Their toys cluttered my floor. Their cereal bowls filled my sink. When I said I had exams, she sighed. "You're so lucky to have free time." Dad's voice echoed one night when I asked about help with tuition. "We're still paying off the wedding," he said, not looking up from his paper. The edge of the page trembled slightly as he turned it. I realized he knew how unfair it sounded. He just didn't care enough to stop reading. It wasn't one big betrayal, it was thousands of small ones. Every hand-me-down, every favor, every quiet dismissal. A lifetime of being the easy choice. I used to believe staying quiet kept the peace. But peace built on silence isn't peace at all. It's debt. And someone always comes to collect. It was supposed to be my birthday dinner, but the cake already had her kids' names on it. We thought it'd be fun to celebrate everyone together, Mom said like that. Explained why my candles were shaped like cartoon animals. The twins clapped. Everyone laughed. After dessert, Mom slid an envelope across the table. "We have a surprise," she said. "A family trip next week. We booked everything." Dad nodded proud. "You'll love it, Sarah. You'll help with the boys so Liv can finally relax." The room tilted for a second. I heard the hum of the refrigerator, the scrape of a fork on porcelain. Then my own voice, flat even. "I'm not going." Silence. Olivia's smile froze. "What do you mean you're not going? I mean exactly that." Mom's tone sharpened. "Don't make a scene." I set my fork down. The metal rang softly against the plate. "I'm not making a scene. I'm just saying no." Dad cleared his throat, muttered something about gratitude. Olivia whispered, "You're unbelievable." I stood pushing my chair back slowly, the legs dragging across the tile. "You've had my weekends, my nights, my patience. You can have the trip too, but without me." Their voices tangled as I walked out. Questions and guilt layered over each other. The door closed behind me, muffling it all. For the first time, the quiet didn't feel like punishment. It felt like space. That night, I opened my laptop. Flights, hotels, a blank search bar blinking back at me. My fingers hovered for a moment, then typed one word elsewhere. I didn't slam any doors. I didn't need to. The quiet was enough. That night, I sat at my desk with the single lamp on its circle of light, small but steady. My laptop hummed as I opened a new spreadsheet. Payments, rent, flights. Each word was a column, each cell a step out. I scrolled through airline sites comparing numbers like someone memorizing an escape route. The cursor blinked over the word confirm. I pressed it. A new flight, a new destination, same weekend as theirs. Every sound in the house became sharper after that. The washing machine droning Dad's TV too loud, Mom's phone calls filled with my sister's laughter. I'd hear her say things like, "Sarah will help," and I'd picture my name folded into every plan like a napkin no one asked for. I stopped answering calls, stopped volunteering anything. During lunch breaks at work, I printed every receipt and booking confirmation I made, folded them neatly, slid them into a clear sleeve in my folder. There was something holy about the order of it, numbers, dates, time stamps. I kept each one like proof that my life finally had structure outside of them. A week before the trip, I went to buy a suitcase. The clerk asked if it was for business or pleasure. Neither, I said. Freedom. She laughed, not knowing I meant it. The suitcase was gray, hard-shelled, soundless when it rolled. At home, I laid it open on my bed. One by one, I packed white shirts, folded jeans, my notebook, the silver water bottle I always carried. I zipped it halfway, leaving room for something that didn't fit, yet the feeling of leaving for real. Mom knocked on my door that night. "Remember to bring sunscreen," she said, mistaking my closed laptop for agreement. I nodded once, watching her reflection in the screen. Her words floated in the air long after she left. The next day, Olivia texted, "Can you pick up extra snacks for the twins?" I stared at the message until it disappeared from the screen. Then I deleted the thread. No reply. I started waking up earlier, walking around the block before work. The air before sunrise felt untouched new. I practiced silence there, learning the weight of it in my lungs. I didn't owe anyone a single word anymore. In the evenings, I cleared my emails, unsubscribed from everything with their names on it. I organized my bank accounts, stopped every auto pay tied to shared bills. My life shrank down to essentials, what I earned, what I kept, what I chose. Maya from work noticed. "You've been quiet," she said over coffee. "Maybe I finally ran out of explanations," I replied. She didn't ask more, and I was grateful. 2 nights before their flight, I stood in front of the hallway mirror, the one framed by the family photos Mom loved. Olivia's wedding smile stared back at me. My own reflection looked foreign, calmer, but older somehow. I picked up the frame, flipped it face down. The soft thud against the table sounded final. Later that night, I wrote a single text draft and saved it. "I'm going on my own vacation. Enjoy yours." I didn't send it yet. Just seeing it waiting in my outbox was enough to slow my pulse. The last evening at home, the house buzzed with excitement. Suitcases stacked near the door. The twins ran through the hallway in matching hats. Mom's voice carried from the kitchen, rehearsing checklists. I sat in my room, earbuds, and pretending to watch a movie. My suitcase was already hidden in the trunk of my car. At midnight, I checked the flight again. On time. I took one slow breath, turned off the lamp, and let the darkness settle. My phone lit up once Olivia's message, "Can't wait for our trip." I powered the phone down without replying. That night, I slept deeper than I had in years. Morning came in the quietest way. The smell of coffee drifted from the kitchen, the house alive with movement. I moved just as quietly, walking past their open suitcases, past Mom calling for sunscreen again. I said only, "I'll meet you there." They smiled, distracted, believing it. The drive to the airport was a blur of sunrise and highway signs. I parked at a different terminal, checked my bag, and watched families pass with the same exhaustion I'd carried for years. At my gate, I sat near the window watching planes lift like secrets breaking free. When my boarding group was called, I opened my phone, scrolled to the saved message, and hit send. "I'm going on my own vacation. Enjoy yours." Then I powered it off and dropped it into my bag. No one saw me leave. The airport hum was constant voices, wheels, gates calling numbers that meant nothing to me. My family was somewhere on the other side of the terminal, juggling tickets, backpacks, and the twins. I pictured the scene without needing to see it. Mom fussing, Olivia half-scolding Dad trying to sound patient. They'd think I was parking the car, maybe grabbing coffee. For once, I liked that they weren't looking for me. I walked to my gate, showed my boarding pass, and stepped onto a plane heading in the opposite direction. The air smelled like metal and recycled air. When the seatbelt light blinked on, I closed my eyes. The plane lifted soft and certain, leaving Phoenix behind like a habit I'd outgrown. Hours later, my phone vibrated the second I turned it back on. Dozens of missed calls, then more. Texts stacked like dominoes. "Where are you? Gate C3. We're boarding, Sarah. Your sister's crying. This is selfish. Answer your phone right now." By the time the plane touched down, there were hundreds. The newest one read, "You ruined our vacation." I didn't open any of them. I stood in the slow-moving line toward baggage claim, the carousel turning, the noise blending into white sound. My gray suitcase appeared sliding toward me like a punctuation mark. I pulled it off the belt, the weight grounding me. Outside, the heat hit thick, salted alive. The island air smelled of sunscreen and seaweed. I checked into the hotel, signed my name, and handed over the receipt like proof of something private. The clerk smiled. "Welcome," he said. I nodded, too tired to return it. In my room, I placed the suitcase by the wall and sat on the edge of the bed. The phone buzzed again. Mom, Olivia, Dad. All of them flooding the screen. For a moment, the guilt pulsed, quick, sharp, human. Then it flattened like a wave collapsing back into the sea. I turned the phone over, screen down, and stared at the ceiling. Somewhere my family was probably arguing in an airport lounge, the twins crying, Olivia fuming. I pictured Mom's voice breaking when she realized I wasn't on the next flight either. They'd call it betrayal. I called it balance. The next morning, I walked to the shoreline before sunrise. The sky was pale orange, the water breathing in slow rhythm. I dug my toes into the wet sand and let the foam reach for my ankles. The silence here was different, clean, deliberate. When I finally checked my phone, the battery was nearly dead. The notifications blurred together, now missed calls, voicemails, accusations. "You're ungrateful. You embarrassed us. We needed you." I scrolled once, then held down the screen until the message thread trembled. Delete all. The sound it made one quiet tap was the only reply I ever gave them. I spent the rest of the morning wandering through the market near the pier. Fishermen shouted prices, children chased birds. No one knew my name here, and for the first time, that anonymity felt like safety. I bought a small seashell pendant from a vendor. Its surface was smooth, cold, perfect in its imperfection. When I held it up to the light, I thought of the glass of juice spilling across the table back home, color bleeding into white, and how now, finally, I could just let it dry. That evening, I opened my notebook and wrote one line, "Freedom doesn't arrive with fanfare. It arrives when no one is watching you leave." Then I closed the book and left it on the bedside table next to the keycard. Outside, the wind shifted, carrying faint laughter from somewhere down the beach. For a split second, it sounded like hers, my sister's, but it wasn't. It was just the world moving on the way it always does. Morning light spilled through the thin curtains, soft and pale. The tide whispered against the shore outside my window, steady and unbothered. I brewed coffee in the small hotel pot, the smell sharp and grounding. My phone sat face down on the nightstand, quiet for once. I didn't reach for it. I took my cup to the balcony. Below the beach stretched empty, except for a few early risers dragging chairs into the sand. No twins, no voices calling my name, just space wide enough to breathe in. I hadn't realized how loud my life had been until it went still. I opened my notebook again. The line from the night before stared back at me. "Freedom doesn't arrive with fanfare." Beneath it, I wrote another. "It stays when you stop apologizing for wanting it." The pen bled a little on the page ink, sinking into the fibers. It felt permanent, like a promise. Later, I walked along the waterline, letting the surf erase my footprints as I went. I thought about every version of myself that had stayed quiet at the table in the kitchen, at the edge of every family photo. I used to think silence was safety. Now I understood it could be armor too. By afternoon, I packed my bag. The suitcase closed with a single click, smooth and final. I left the room key on the desk beside a note for housekeeping, "Thank you." No return address, no name. The flight home was calm. No calls waiting when I turned my phone on. Maybe they'd stopped trying. Maybe they finally believed me. Back in Phoenix, I didn't drive to the old house. I went straight to my apartment instead. The light there was clean, white, unfiltered. I unpacked slowly, folded clothes, placed the seashell pendant on my desk. It glowed faintly in the afternoon sun, the same color as the foam that had touched my feet that morning. The kettle hissed on the stove. Steam rose thin and silent. I poured the water, watched it swirl, then exhaled. No noise, no apologies, just air filling a space that finally belonged to me. The next morning, I woke before sunrise. The city was still, the air faintly cool against the windows. I sat at my desk, the one with no framed photos, no noise, no ghosts. My phone lay beside the seashell, dark and still. For once, no one expected anything from me. That emptiness felt clean. I made tea, opened the window, and listened. No shouting, no footsteps, only wind. For years, I mistook duty for love and silence for peace. But real peace doesn't ask for permission. It just waits for you to notice it. I looked around my small apartment, the stack of books, the folded blanket, the light spilling across the floor. It wasn't much, but every inch of it was mine. Maybe one day they'll tell the story differently, how I walked away or ruined the trip. Let them. The truth is simpler. I just stopped showing up to places where I was never seen. The kettle whistled. I smiled slow and quiet. The silence that followed wasn't lonely. It was earned. If you've ever had to leave to find peace, tell me, where did you go, and did it finally feel like freedom?